never study what a man wants. The women who are successful study men. My mother told me that my grandmother on her side used to have man management Sunday after church
Hmm.
because she had 15 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
All the girls, yeah, I have a huge family.
Hmm.
All the girls were then brought over, young, going from small to would go over with their mother, and they would have ways to be this, how to cook, how to clean, how to be and talk and so forth. I watched my grandmother when I was down there on my father's side. When my grandfather would come in because he ran a plantation of coconuts. When he came in one time, he was pissed for some reason, angry. And I was scared because I mean, that's that, you're a little boy, you got that yang energy going off.
Hmm.
He didn't do anything, to damage anything. He just had the yelling and screaming and banging doors. And then I looked up at my grandmother and I was scared, and she just did this. And all she did was not say anything. All she did was keep preparing, made sure that everything was in place. And all she did was sit at the table, and I sat across from my sister and myself. He sat across from the table. And when he sat down, after he sat down and saw the meal, so everything was in order, his whole energy just changed. I watched it. I saw it. I saw the power of the woman changing energy right in front of me. And that's why when I wrote that book, The Wounded Womb,
Hmm.
I went to the elders, the elder grandmothers, and the ones who was my godmother. My godmother was Amy Bell Olatunji, the master drummer Olatunji's wife.
Hmm. Hmm.
His wife was my godmother. These are the women that I went to talk to when I wrote that book. What was missing? What was it that women are not doing? And what is it that the society did to women? I don't put the blame completely on women. I put the blame on who it was that manipulated this society in such a way that we were taken completely out of a mold, an archetypal mold of relationship between us and our women. And we just allowed that to happen as men. Because when we stop this, when we're really willing to die for something and really, really to live for something, the women will come. They'll come back. They'll have to. They'll have no choice. Because right now they don't have a choice.
Hmm.
Period.
Hmm. Let's get another question. What about the benefits? Hmm. Somebody's asking, what are the benefits of transiting sexual energy and how to do so?
You're looking for a master class. You can't get that in one little answer here, my brother. I understand what you're talking about. You're talking about the tantra, how you can transition sexual energy into cerebral energy, into consciousness energy, into opening up that first eye. That comes from training, breath especially. I would tell you to look into tantric yoga, and look into Raja Yoga. That's the one. That's the one dealing with the mind. Raja, Raja Yoga,
Mhm.
and Tantric Yoga. Those are excellent. Oh, also Pranic Yoga.
Mm.
Pranic Yoga is dealing with the breath and everything about sexuality, especially maintaining, the standing rod for sex. It's all in the breath.
The brother Wayne Chandler was just talking about that. I did a workshop with him last weekend. He literally just said the same thing. Literally.
Yeah, I used to teach tantric yoga and tantric sex in classes back when in the day consciousness. The genetic consciousness is the lesson plan that you've chosen to do while you're occupying an avatar in third density. Your DNA is saying what your lesson plan would be physically, psychologically, spiritually, intellectually, and so forth. You are your ancestors because you're just nothing more than energy. But we do have certain familial energy streams. So there's a consciousness time stream that, based upon what you did to preoccupy your mind and your actions in this life, streams you into a consciousness stream that matches. And sometimes that consciousness stream is so potent, so powerful, that the choice for the body you wish to come through sometimes takes on the timetable thousands of years. I did a cerebral reading, a cerebral astrological reading. No, sidereal. I'm sorry, a sidereal uh, psychological astrological reading back around 19. I think it was 85, 86.
Mhm.
And this brother was awesome. And he did a sidereal reading on me, and he found out that the last incarnation at that time for me was something like 132,000 years. And I
Mm,
didn't know what that meant at the time
mm,
until I began to study more of the occult and to do my readings. And I found out that there's certain consciousness that circles, and this is why they want to put the computer to interrupt those social consciousness streams. The genetic consciousness streams are the ones that you leave the physical body, go back to, and then get into the non time space in order to come back into time. So when you leave, you go back in and you enrich the genetic time stream that you are functioning in
mm,
based upon your experiences. And then that particular experience then either is a choice based upon you. Again, your actions here create the compelling energy to bring you back. If you have no reason to come back, there would not be the lust to take another body, only the choice to do so. The longer you take to come back, it means that you do not have any cravings that the physical body engendered upon your soul that makes you want to come back to fulfill them. So your thinking process has a lot to do with codifying the addictions to the flesh. How addicted you are to your emotions, to circumstances where you need to have revenge, that you need to conquer, to make money, and so forth. All of these are the traps that bring you back constantly into the flesh, into the suffering of the flesh. This is what Buddha was talking about.
mhm,
So you are your ancestors. You are part of the consciousness stream and the genetic time stream that you chose to be with your consciousness, and you share their consciousness. And you are independent once you become part of the avatar that you've chosen. You have to choose the vessel that you come through. There's no accidents.
mhm,
You choose the vessels that come through between the joining of the sperm and the egg. That becomes a specific doorway. I told everybody that there was a nuclear explosion and a portal that opens up in the egg of the woman. She becomes the stargate. You're the one that activates that stargate. And then whatever compels you to that particular moment was a signature that brought you to that space to occupy that womb and to resurrect the Osarian energy. There was a story about Osar not just dying by being cut to pieces by Set, but him drowning. And what did that mean? Well, Osar is the representation of resurrection. Well, the symbol of Osar drowning was you entering into the womb and into the solution, the fluid that women that you are born in. And of course, when you are in the flesh, the spirit dies. That's the symbol of the crucifix of Jesus Christ. It simply means that when the spirit and the soul descends into third density, it dies on the plane of matter. That's what that crucifix of Jesus means. So, yes, you are conscious, but you return to a consciousness time stream. There's an individuality first before you release yourself. You hover upon your body, you look upon yourself, and if you crave or you have any feelings of empathy, which you normally would, because it's almost like a residual signal that you have as you're transiting out of the body. You have residual signals that are connected to your cerebral signals of electromagnetism that were the conduits of thought. Electricity is the conduit of thought. in your brain. So these are the things that you disengage from as you're leaving the body. And it's very difficult. Sometimes you feel empathetic for the people that are around you when you are dying or when you're leaving your body. But then you linger. That's why I saw my grandmother. She and I had a very close relationship, and I saw her when she passed. She came and visited me. I mean, it was like, and at my age, I wasn't going to dispute it that she was there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this time, when you grow older and you think you know everything and you just get scared of everything that is strange, it was like, oh my God. But as a child, children love animals. They play with things, cats especially, see spirits.
Indeed, Doc. Let's get to why that was a thorough answer. Whoever asked that question, I know you satisfied. That was a thorough. This Sunday, the webinar is going down. Let me share the link in the chat room again for y'all, for those who are interested. Also, the phone number's in the description. If you're having problems with the link, you could hit up the phone number. And the phone number, right? They just call the number?
Yeah, they can call the number, or they can directly hit me at my private email, sanu777 @gmail.
All right, this next question, Doc, is does the creator have a name?
No, it does not. Once you name it, you limit it. Where would the name come from? The name would come from you. It would channel through you. You are a temporal vessel. So there's no way you could encompass the creators to have it named. For you to even glean that the creator has a name means that you, being a child of the creator, think that you could limit your father and your mother to what you are, though you are a limitation of them. But you cannot limit them. They can limit you. And that's what you are, a limitation of them, a feedback mechanism. But you could never know its name, because your brain and your body to encompass that energy, no. The creator's name is whatever you feel and whatever you open your heart to hear, because it resonates. Remember, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And if that's the case, then the Word resonates continuously, because all is waves. And so if there's a sound wave, that frequency that your particular machinery can pick up, your particular organic and nerve complex can pick up, then you name that name, because that's the name privately for you. If you name it Jesus, it don't belong to you. That name belongs to somebody else who wants to control you. Same with Allah and Jehovah and all of those names. God didn't name anybody, name them. He says, I will reveal my name to you. And what did they tell you that God said his name is? I am that I am. That's it. I am that I am. I ain't Jesus. I'm not Allah. I'm not Jehovah, because I am limited by those names. You may think that those names makes me everything. No, it doesn't. It just makes me a construct of your own limited thinking.
Doc, I remember real quick before we get to the last question, when I was real young, and my mother, I grew up a Christian, but she was heavily into the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So she would always play speeches in the household. But I remember her teaching me how to pray and telling me about Jesus and everything. And then when I went to myself to pray, the only thing is looking back at it is interesting, because you can look at how innocent you were as a child.
Yes.
My prayer every night was, dear God, I love my mommy. I want to die when she dies. That's all. All I do was that. I don't know none of this, but whenever she leave, I'm ready to leave.
I hear you. I hear you.
Every day I just be like, I would have died with I love my mommy, and I would have died when she dies. That was my prayer.
Telling you. See, but see, didn't that Christ, that same Jesus, tell you to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must be as little children? Yeah. So ain't no learned guy with a big beard, or no imam and all these. Ain't none of them getting into heaven according to that, unless you're like a child.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I like to see? I know a lot of people are hating on him, but you ever watch Steph Curry play?
Yes.
You ever watch him when he's just practicing and just
It's amazing.
he's
It's
he's
amazing.
he's a child. He
Ah,
like
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yes.
you ever
Very
watch
much
him?
so.
He's doing
Yes.
crazy things, and he
Yes.
has everybody on the team acting like that.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm.
Where
Good.
is where is the innocence
Good
in
example.
in your everyday life that you can
Wow.
recognize someone that is destined for that heaven that they have constructed?
Mm.
Very, very few can actually say that, can stay as a child.
Mm.
Man, my son, we have, my son is, we're into the movies, we're into superheroes, and I've always been that way with him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my youth is, I live my youth through my son
Mm-hmm.
and my grandson, you
Dope.
know, and
Dope.
and then my wife, we love the movies and certain things that we laugh at together. If you don't have that child life energy, then you kind that's those are the people who have the Alzheimer's.
Mm.
Those are the people who begin to constrict and block out, who forget that young, loving energy to just love life. Just because I tell people, and you see me arguing and talking all about what it is that's wrong with the society, don't think that I don't maintain my joy, my
Mm.
personal joy, family. Oh, please do not think that's because I want you to achieve yours by
Indeed.
you understanding what it is that you're battling out there. Because a lot of people are sad,
Yeah.
they're angry,
Mm-hmm.
they don't love being themselves. And that's what depression is. Depression is not liking to be with your own thoughts,
Mm.
not liking your own thoughts.
Yeah. I know people that got to sleep with the TV on just because they're scared of their thoughts. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's a scary thing. Let's
yeah.
get to this last question before we get out of here. What a show! Thank you to everybody that's here. Make sure you hit the like button. Also, I got the flyer on the screen. Let me share this link one more time before we get to the last question, family. Doc's having a webinar this Sunday to talk about stuff he can't talk about on this channel, obviously. So let's get to this next question, family. Excuse me. Can you elaborate on your understanding?
In a state of unconditionalness towards life, uh, the society, living in a state of unconditional empathy, no judgment. When they say God is love, they look at something outside of themselves that is unachievable unless they access the thing that is love outside of themselves. When you say God is love, you're not looking at yourself as the God within that is the love. You're waiting for something to show you love. You're waiting to some to give you a evidence of what love is like because you think love is something that is bestowed upon you. You lose yourself essentially. If you want to talk about real love, love is this selfless thing where you don't really have any compunction to give your life, if you want to
Mm,
call that an aspect of love.
mhm,
All parents have that.
mhm,
Parents would go to, there's no way you take a bullet, you take whatever is necessary to protect your children. They'll call that an aspect of love. It's an empathetic connection to the all in one. When you feel love, there is a oneness that is not the oneness between you and someone else. That thing between you and that other person is actually bringing you together to feel the oneness of all things, all people, all things in existence. That's what the ontological study is. How does love translate into a interconnectedness with the one
mm,
and the all, which is the same thing?
mhm,
We don't have that, and they don't want you to connect to the all anymore because that connection to the all is between you and your woman, you and your man. The love you have that you build on, that you work on, when you work with that love and you feel the distance, sometimes when that person is not around you, you say, wait a minute, There's something missing in my life at this point. To hear their voice, to feel their touch. This is the way that the avatar essentially understands how the one feels. This feeling that you have of displacement, sometimes of loneliness, is what the creator feels and is essentially fighting towards drawing you towards it. There's an occult principle that I can't get into too deeply right now, where the creator retracts upon itself. And in that retraction upon itself, it now has exposed itself to feeling what it is that it could not feel, being its all self. And what did it do when it contracted upon itself? We existed. We've always existed. We've never not existed as part of the all. And so as we now descend into deeper and more compressed levels of existence, denser levels of existence, consolidating ourselves and that love, that displaced love, we find it in each other. The reason why our bodies were designed differently, the reason why the man and the woman were designed differently was to be able to come together in order to understand that love on a whole other level, to be the feedback mechanism for what the creator could not know of itself. And I'm saying that surface wise because you don't have all the information. All I'm doing is speaking to you what I can. We say that I am love. I am that I am is love. If you want to deal with love as attraction, as empathy, then it's everything that you sense that is good, what you call good, balance. That's what love is. Love is balance. Love is sensing it, understanding it, and knowing what doesn't belong in a relationship. So, what we teach at our university, I invite you, family, to join us on the 19th. We are enrolling right now. You can call us at the 800 number for more information, or you can write me at the Sanu777 at Gmail. But if you say there's, what, 3,000 people, beloved?
about 3,400 people.
I'm waiting to see at least 1,500 of you all there. Because like I said to my beloved brother here, I may not be doing this much longer. And someone else has to pick up the torch like my brother here did. He's not going to be able to do it by himself. You're going to help him by becoming the knowledge, by becoming the wisdom, ascending to those planes of enlightenment. It's work. This is not a job.
Mm.
It's not a job.
Mhm.
It's a calling. Okay?
Mhm.
And you
Indeed.
hear it in here, and you hear it in here. That's the most I can say to you. I hope to see a lot of you there. I can't say no more because after this, I have to shut down. You know, there's a time when my body now, I need to start getting my body back in order because I've sacrificed a lot. It's not a sacrifice. I hate using that word, but I've done a lot in my heart that I love to do, but my body is not able to keep up the pace that I did when I started 40 years ago. So right now, this is my only weapon.
Mm.
That, and that.